Here is our Trelliscope display. As you can see, it displays voting coherence over time of a number of given blocks with a given country. If you double click on a block, you can look at it individually. So here we're going to look at G77 and the AU, and we're going to put in the US just for some perspective. So you can scroll through this, look at every single country. There are also ways to filter this data and to look at specific countries over time. So with what we call cognostics, we're able to sort and filter the data. So for example, if we want to look at the AU, we could look at mean AU cohesion over time. We could look at the difference in AU cohesion over time from 1990 to 2013. If we wanted to look at BRICS, we could select in BRICS to only look at countries in BRICS.
We can compare voting cohesion with the AU amongst BRICS countries.
Finally, we can select diff US and mean US to also look at how voting cohesion has changed between BRICS and the US. With our panel labels, we were able to have the actual specific numbers for each of these measurements on the graphs.
Then we can go into this table sort and filter option, which allows us to look at the actual numbers that our cognostics have produced. So we can look exclusively at BRICS countries, and we can examine which countries vote the highest or vote most often with the African Union in the time period that we're looking at. So South Africa between 1989 and 2013 has voted 86.75% of the time with the African Union. We can also look at the change in voting that each of these countries has with the African Union. Again, South Africa seems to have the highest change, increasing by 19% in their cohesion, whereas Brazil also increases and the remaining countries decrease. We can see this on the graph by selecting the relevant blocks for South Africa. We see that South Africa has maintained a relatively high level of cohesion with the African Union and has been increasing in recent years. You can compare that to Brazil, which though it began high, it decreased until 2000, and from 2000 to 2013 has tremendously increased in its cohesion with the African Union. You can compare that to our other BRICS countries, so China, India, and later Russia. We see that these countries have relatively static voting cohesion with the African Union in the last decade and a half.
And we can see specifically, though investment in China has been high in the last decade, voting cohesion really has not changed. It's remained relatively static and it's not increased drastically.
In fact, we've almost seen a slight decrease. Same can be seen of Russia. Now, realizing that South Africa and Brazil are both seem to be the most significant BRICS countries when dealing with the African Union, how it works. We can consider which one would be a more optimal partner for the United States. South Africa began with a relatively high cohesion with the United States until 2000, at which point it began to drop to a low of 2.9% in 2007. Although it's increased in recent years, the trend appears to be generally downward, which is confirmed with this negative 17% diff USA number change in voting with the United States from 1994 actually till 2013. Now Brazil, though relatively volatile, seems to generally be a more consistent partner with the United States, and we can see that its difference in voting between 1989 and 2013 with the United States is positive, and the mean voting is also higher in Brazil than it is in South Africa. This would indicate to us that when trying to